Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Going deep to the left.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
Sideline. Going to the inside.
Welcome to Sports Night in Auburn.
And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. My name is Vince Wolfram. Today, we're here in San Antonio at the Final Four. And I know you're like, Final Four? When we last left you, we were talking about the round of 32 in Lexington when Auburn defeated the Creighton Blue Jays. Well, they advanced to the Sweet 16 to take on 5 seed in the South Region, Michigan. And this game had so many storylines, from former Auburn point guard Trey Donaldson, starting at the 1 for Michigan, Danny Wolf, the power forward at Yale, who defeated Auburn in the first round of last year's Big Dance. Plenty of storylines. This game was full of them, and Sophia Weber was in Atlanta to tell the entire story of this Michigan game. Sophia, take it away.
State Farm Arena became home to the Auburn men's basketball team as they arrived for the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. They went from one Michigan to the next, facing both Michigan and Michigan State. With 6 days since they last hit the court, the Tigers struggled to find their groove early with Michigan. The first half was a duel of the leading big men. Danny Wolf had 11 of Michigan's 29 points, and Janai Broome had 10 of Auburn's 30. The second half of that matchup came down to the guard play. Coach Bruce Pearl spoke on the state of his stars.
And then I got a couple guards got really hot, that really got heated up. You know, Denver got heated up, and Todd got heated up, and we went to them, and they delivered. So great one for Auburn.
And they did just that. Denver Jones ended the game with 20 points, 13 of which came in the second half, and Tahad Pettiford had 15 second-half points. On the flip side, Michigan had only 2 3-pointers and went 36% from the field. Their late efforts were not enough, and Auburn won the first game by 13, 78-65.
Sophia Weber, thank you so much. Great coverage there from the Sweet 16. And after the game, in the locker room, our sports producer Joleigh Cavanagh and I were able to catch up with some of the Auburn Tigers who excelled in this game. Jojo caught up with Chaney Johnson, and I was able to speak with Chad Baker-Mazzara. Check it out.
First ever Elite 8. How does that feel?
Oh, can I hold the mic?
Of course you
can. I can hold the mic? Okay. All glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without him, I would be nothing. His team would be nowhere. And I just feel like he's blessed his team so much, and he's keep on boosting our platform. And, you know, I'm just really grateful to be a part of this.
That dunk in the second half, coming out of that timeout, what was going through your mind?
I ain't gonna lie, I think that was the most energetic I've ever been after a dunk, you know. I had to get myself going a little bit, you know, had a couple careless turnovers. So I just had to get myself going. I mean, Chad got binoculars in his eyes, so he saw me on the slip, and I just had to go strong and finish it. So, no, I was real hyped after that one.
What is it like playing with a freshman like Tahad Pettiford?
Amazing. He's a dog, and he go out there and he plays like a dog, you know. So, I mean, it's a great feeling. I'm grateful to be able to be a part of his journey because he's a pro, and be able to see him just continue to perform in big games, man, it's crazy.
Denver Jones had a great game tonight, over 20 points. What is it like? You guys have kind of a similar story, both coming from JUCOs, seeing a guy shine like that in arguably one of the biggest stages in college basketball.
Denver works real hard. He's one of the hardest workers on the team, and to see him get the fruits of his labor is amazing. He plays both ends real well and gives great energy all the time. And, you know, every game he doesn't get the shots, but he deserves the shots, and when he gets the ball, you know, he's automatic. So it's great to see a man like that, see my teammate like that go in. And he also my hotel roomie, so, you know, shout out to him.
How was the environment tonight? How was the jungle?
It was miraculous. It was spectacular. What's another word? It was amazing. You know, to have the fans. I think that was the largest Tiger Walk we'd ever had, coming onto the bus. And to see, like, how loud they got, I mean, they really gave us energy to go on that run that won us the game.
All right, Chad, just beat Michigan, advancing to the Elite 8. What's going through your mind?
You know, feeling good, feeling confident, happy. At the same time, job ain't done. So once we leave this locker room, we locking into Michigan State.
Yeah.
What worked for you? You started the second half off pretty strong there with some energy, with some pop. Sort of what was the halftime message that got you guys coming out with some lightning?
I know I would struggle a little bit offensively, and I kept saying to myself, okay, how am I going to impact the game in a different way? I know my offense ain't working, and I got to find somehow I can help the guys some other way. So, came back out there, I told Coach, look, you got me in the defensive side. My production on offense ain't that good right now. So let the guys eat, whoever's eating, and I got you on the other side, though.
Yeah, there was a lot of eating, a lot of plates full of food. We'll start with Tahad, the freshman. I mean, speak to that. You had your hands on your head. You didn't know what in the world that guy was going to do, but it was going to go in the basket. What were you seeing when you saw him?
I don't know. There was a couple of shots that I said, Tahad, what are you? Whoa. Steve Kerr, when Curry went behind the back, he was like, he had me just like that, bro. I was just like, bro, he's just incredible. But at the same time, I seen him put in the work this whole time he been here, and, he's paying off.
Yeah. And Denver Jones, too, like you'd mentioned, stepped up on the defense. You stepped up on the defensive side. He wasn't too far behind you. He was right there and on offense as well. Talk about his game, because it was a complete one tonight.
Oh, yeah. I said that's the best two-way player in the whole country. He'll guard, best guards that we got and play against, and you leave him alone, he's going to air you out the gym. So, I'm very happy, very proud of him. I just want him to keep doing his thing.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing we don't want to change from now until Sunday is the Auburn family. Speak to how loud this place was tonight.
Hey, man, bring it on again on Sunday, because that was lit. Oh, God.
Heard it here first. Auburn advancing to the Elite Eight. Chad Baker-Mazara is leading it.
Chad Baker-Mazara obviously winning all of the Auburn faithful to return to Atlanta for the Elite Eight game against Michigan State. But first, winning. And winning's been important to this team all season, and they've done so in a way that no other team has. 31 wins on the season, a new program best for Auburn basketball, and they did that with the win against Michigan. Now, the question I know you're wondering, can they add to that total? We'll have the answer when we come back, whether Auburn was able to stave off 2-seed Michigan State. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn from San Antonio, Texas at the Final Four. Now, Elite Eight, Michigan State versus Auburn. Now, this game was headlined obviously by the legendary coaches at play here. Michigan State has Tom Izzo. Can't bet against this guy in March. It's January, February, Izzo in April. A tough matchup for Auburn. A Michigan State team found their stride towards the end of the season, and Bruce Pearl obviously has had a fantastic year with 16 quad one wins to this point, big wins all year long. Could he get one more? Sophia Weber has more.
With a day to recharge, the Tigers took the floor again to face Michigan State. Denai Broom went 3 for 3 to start and would end with a double-double, not for the game, but for the first half. Miles Kelly hitting back-to-back jumpers contributed to a 17-0 run before Tom Izzo called time. The score at the half was 33-24. Although there were a pair of Tigers in foul trouble, Auburn had 11 points off the bench. After an injury from Broom, a block by Tahad gave the Tigers energy. Denai Broom checked back in with 5.5 minutes left. What made Auburn fans happier than that, he immediately swished a three-pointer and was named the most outstanding player of the South Regional. A well-coached Michigan State could not hang on, and the Auburn Tigers became the regional champs. The confetti dropped, and they were the team who cut down the net. The field in San Antonio features all 4 number 1 seeds for the first time since 2008. The final score was Auburn 70, Michigan State 64. The name of the game is Survive and Advance in March, and the Auburn Tigers did just that. They've officially punched their ticket to the Final Four, where they will face Florida yet again. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sophia Weber.
So Auburn might own a little stake in the state of Michigan after beating Michigan State and Michigan in the NCAA tournament. The players were elated, the confetti was flying, a wonderful scene for Auburn faithful as they've awaited a trip to the Final Four since 2019. Now, JoJo Cavanagh again and I were able to go into the locker rooms after the game today, and we caught some players on the floor as well in full celebration mode. You're going to hear from Chad Baker-Mazara, Chris Moore, Tahad Pettiford, and Dylan Cardwell.
You're going to the Final Four.
Yeah, I am.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Feels amazing, shut a lot of people's mouths that told me I couldn't do it. told us we couldn't do it. But at the same time, you know, job ain't done. So at the same time, you know, we're enjoying tonight, but then going back to the lab.
Got your whole family here to celebrate with you. How special is that?
It is special because, you know, last year my dad came to see me at Yale, and I got kicked out of that game, and that was probably one of the worst feelings I ever had in my life. And now having them being here is the complete opposite. I'm top of the world. No, come on, gang.
I'm gonna put it right back in. Don't worry, you know me. I'm gonna put it right back in there.
You. It's okay. That's my brother though. He'll do it. He didn't know. I'm gonna let it slide. He didn't know it was confetti. Appreciate you. Hey, the GOAT, man who recruited me here, GOAT. That's all.
You're not here without him. I'm so proud of him, and we ain't done yet, right?
No, we ain't done.
We ain't done.
Got two more. Dos más.
Dos más.
Dos más. I love you. You too. I love you too. That's my brother right there. That's my brother from another mother right there.
No doubt, and Joleigh goes down that second half. The bench, they had a look on their face. Guys on the floor had a look on their face. Sort of walk me through that moment for you guys as a team, knowing you had to step up.
We kind of all looked at each other and said, like, okay, you know, Joleigh went down. So now is, you know, we got to hold it down for him. And, you know, we took care of our offensively and defensively. And, you know, by the time he came back, I think it was still like the same 10-point lead. And when he came back, he said, okay, I'm good. I got y'all. Now let's finish it. He came in and did Joleigh Broom things.
First time Auburn's been in the Final Four since 2019. You guys are making history. How's that feel?
It feels great because, you know, started the season, a lot of people had a lot of doubt about us. Even after we won Maui, you know, a lot of people still talking down about us. Even after we had that little bad stretch during the end of the year, people were like, oh, yeah, that's the real Auburn. I guess it wasn't the real Auburn.
5 years at Auburn, finally the Final Four. What are you feeling right now?
Man, it's kind of hard to describe what I'm feeling. I'm overwhelmed with all kind of emotions right now, man. It's just exciting, man. It shows all the sacrifice that we made it and at the beginning of the season to get to this point.
How proud are you of this team?
Man, I'm ultra proud of this team, man. It just shows that, you know, we were one team that came together, man. You know, a bunch of old dudes that nobody really expected us to be that good, but, man, the kind of things that we did this season is amazing, man. I'm glad we continue doing this in March. 4
number 1 seeds, the Final Four. What are you most looking forward to for San Antonio?
Man, just showing that we ultimately the best team in the country, man. It's gonna be all the top dogs in San Antonio, so it's all about who's gonna come out the top dog.
Auburn's first ever Final Four since 2019. What is going through your mind right now?
To be honest, just a bunch of emotions. I'm just happy for these guys. All the hard work we put in this year is finally paying off, but we're not done yet.
Double digits in all games in the South region, on the all-tournament team. How does that feel?
It feels great. Just shows the work I've been putting in is paying off, but obviously I just want to be holding that national championship trophy up.
Tell me about the message that was sent throughout the team when Joleigh goes down. What was it up for you guys to come together and step up?
Everybody knew that he needed to step up. Obviously, the game he was having today, he was a huge impact, so we just knew that when he went down, everybody needed to step it up a little bit more.
Next up, Florida. Walter Clayton Jr., one of the best players in college basketball. What is going through your mind after you guys fell to them at home this year and that's your next opponent?
Just going to get back in the gym, see what we did wrong last time against them, and just fix our mistakes.
Next up, San Antonio. Guy from New Jersey. Have you ever been to San Antonio?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
What are you most looking forward
to? Just the atmosphere of the Final Four and hopefully the championship game. I've been to a championship game and a Final Four game before, so just being able to play in it is going to be a blessing.
Dylan Cardwell, you're going to the Final Four for the first time since 2019. How do you feel?
Yeah, you know, first and foremost, all glory to God. I mean, it just feels unreal. It feels unreal. You know, for me, just immense gratitude and thankfulness to the Lord, obviously. But, you know, heading into this season, I just got tired of hearing about the 2019 team, you know. Every single thing about Auburn is 2019. You know, the password to the locker room is 2019. The password to the Wi-Fi is 2019. We have a 2019 banner outside of our arena that says Final Four 2019. And for me, I'm grateful for the 2019 team. I'm grateful for that group of guys. We wouldn't be here without them. Auburn wouldn't be Auburn without them guys. They're the cornerstone group. They're the cornerstone team of this university, of this program. But I wanted to make my own history. You know, being here for 5 years and not having anything to kind of hang up that was worth anything to differentiate myself, it meant the world to me to finally etch myself in not just Auburn history, but college sports history.
Going into this offseason, you had the chance to go somewhere or stay at Auburn, and Bruce Pearl offered you the promise that he would start you every single game alongside Joleigh Broom. Looking back at that moment, How much has changed?
Not a thing. You know, BP's a man of his word. He stands on business. Best coach in the country.
What would you tell that guy?
That's what I tell Dylan. I mean, shoot. You know, keep trusting the Lord. That's all. That's all it boils down to, is trusting the Lord. The Lord won't fail me regardless of what any man says. I put my faith in God and put my faith in Jesus, and he's been faithful to me. So
Joleigh goes out in the second half. Everybody's kind of questioning.
Chaney Johnson was scared of his mind. For me, another day in the office. You know, we won at South Carolina without him. You know, we've played without Joleigh. And so for me, I had 7 minutes left in my college career, potentially. And I said, I'm not going to let any man going down stop me from that. I didn't even give it a second thought. I said, I just got to fight. I got to fight my tail off, and that's what we did. We fought.
What are you looking forward to most in San Antonio, and what do you feel heading there?
You know, the Auburn faithful traveling. That's all. I'm grateful, and I'm excited for the Auburn faithful to be there.
Dylan Cardwell has one more hotel breakfast opportunity.
Yes, sir, I do. God bless.
Free breakfast. Dylan Cardwell is going to the Final Four.
Yes, sir.
Quite the victory, and Dylan wants one more free breakfast. So I think we can all hope and pray that when they get to San Antonio, they will have that. But Micah Farmer is with me now, and a big win for Auburn in the Elite Eight, going against legendary coaches here, Bruce Pearl and Tom Izzo. This game was a tough one. Joleigh Broome goes down in the second half. How did Auburn make sure that they won this game in the end?
Well, it was a lot of defense down the stretch. Honestly, the Auburn offense, once Joleigh left the floor, kind of sputtered out, but thankfully the defense remained strong. That defensive intensity we've seen so far through the tournament for these Tigers stayed up, really kept the Michigan State shot makers out of the game. Not a lot of threes made from Michigan State until the last spurt in the last couple minutes, but it was enough to stave off the comeback attempt. And obviously by that point, Joleigh was back in the game, and even though he wasn't necessarily scoring a ton, the defense was still there. So just enough to get this done.
Yeah, 9-point lead going into halftime, 33-24. The Tigers end up winning by 6, 70-64. And I just want to talk about, like you mentioned, that defense. But Joleigh goes down, and the energy is weird. In the arena, it's weird. The fans know. And Joleigh Broome looks to the assistant coaches and says, I'm done. That feeling I can't even imagine, but a guy that stepped up, I thought, was Chaney Johnson. Tell me what you saw from him once Joleigh went out.
I completely agree. He stepped in, and it was him and Dylan down low at that point in the game. And Chaney usually is a high-effort guy, but I feel like he got to an even higher level at that point in the game. Again, not necessarily a crazy scorer, but on the defensive end, just was erasing the paint for Michigan State. They could not get anything going at all between Chaney and Dylan. A lot of just rallying to the basketball and high effort rebounding down there, which is something that late in the season we talked about. Auburn's going to have to improve this if they want to win in the tournament, and Chaney really stepped up in that moment. I thought he did a great job of it.
Yeah, and I guess we'll go back to Joleigh, because the matchup problem heading into this game was Jackson Kohler on Joleigh Broome. 2 tough centers, guys that play the game in a smart way, but Joleigh had a day, and he proved why he is a candidate for the National Player of the Year. 25 points from Joleigh, only missed 3 shots. Like we said, played 29 minutes. But was an absolute force in this game. Michigan State really had no answer.
No, they didn't. And we've heard a lot of talk this year about, triple doubles for Joleigh Broome. That Bruce Pearl said, the missed shots, adding to the third aspect of the triple double. That was not an issue today. Every time Joleigh got the ball down low, it felt like he was finishing effectively, able to score it. And that's the Joleigh Broome you're going to need if you're going to need to win in the Final Four.
Yeah, and truly. Now Auburn is headed back there.
Yes.
For the first time since 2019. So a big moment for Bruce Pearl in this program. What do you think the message is from Coach Pearl to his guys to not just be satisfied with just making the Final Four, but you got to win against a team that you haven't beat this year in Florida?
Well, I think the message is, hey, you guys are the second Auburn team ever to make the Final Four. You will cement yourself as the best Auburn team of all time if you win these next 2 games, if you win this next game. This is a Florida team that's beat you. Take the opportunity to get yours back in this one. Do you want it back against this team? Do you want to be the best team in Auburn basketball history? Well, this is your chance to show it.
I think the answer is absolutely yes, and they'll have a chance to do so next Saturday in San Antonio, Texas, where we are right now, and we'll have more when we come back from this break on Auburn, Florida, and previewing the Final Four. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. My name is Vince Wolfram. Here in San Antonio, I'm joined by Micah Farmer, and as we know, as all you Auburn fans have been looking forward to all year, the chance is here, the opportunity has come. Auburn is in the Final Four. And who are they facing? A familiar foe in the Florida Gators, an SEC conference opponent. Both one seeds, Florida the one in the West, Auburn the one in the South, meeting in the Final Four. Micah, this matchup, it's going to be fun. The first one was fun enough. I think this one is going to take it to a whole new level.
Yeah, I am super excited for this game. You have two of the best stars in college basketball in Joleigh Broome and Walter Clayton Jr. And you look at this Florida team right now, they've been winning in the tournament, but I wouldn't say they've been playing their best basketball so far. A lot of turnover issues so far. You look at the UConn game, had to make a last-ditch comeback versus Texas Tech. So I think this is a team that Auburn definitely has a chance against going in.
Yeah, certainly. That game in February was a close one. It was, you could arguably say, it was one of Auburn's worst 5 games and one of Florida's best. They let a guy like Walter Clayton Jr., like you mentioned, one of the best guards in college basketball right now, go crazy at Neville Arena. And I'm thinking in this game, Denver Jones might be the answer on defense.
Yeah, if anyone's going to be the answer versus Walter Clayton, it's going to have to be Denver Jones, one of the best perimeter defenders in college basketball this season, and he's going to need to be on his A game because Walter Clayton so far has been the closer for this Florida team down the stretch. When they need a bucket, it's coming from Clayton, and even though he hasn't had any spectacular first-half performances so far, he's been the guy down the stretch for the Gators. So if you want any chance against this Florida team, you're going to have to contain him. I think down low, I like the Auburn matchup. Joleigh Broome on Alex Condon. I think we didn't see Broome's best game versus the Florida big man earlier in the year. I think Joleigh's going to be motivated against Alex Condon. The man I'm more worried about for Florida is Thomas Houck, though. That guy's been playing out of his mind in the tournament run so far. Got some big rebounds, super high effort guy. You're going to need to contain him because he's going to be flying all over the place. Not necessarily the huge scorer for this Gators team, but he is their high effort glue guy. So if you want to stop Florida from being able to get in transition, you're going to need to mark him, make sure he's not flying it over you.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just going to be a war between these two SEC teams. Coaches that are awfully familiar with each other as well, Bruce Pearl and Todd Golden. Todd Golden having been on Bruce Pearl's staff as a young coach before going to Florida. Micah, this one's going to be fun. We've seen the Auburn family, haven't we, out on the streets here in San Antonio, really getting excited.
Yes.
And we know that that energy is not going to stop because 880 miles that way is a city called Auburn, Alabama, and in Neville Arena, where the Tigers have won plenty of games this year, there was plenty of fans waiting to watch this one. Our Sophia Weber has more from Auburn.
Auburn fans who couldn't make the trip to San Antonio this weekend for the Final Four were still in luck. Auburn Athletics announced on Tuesday that they would be opening the doors to Neville Arena for a free watch party.
It's a fantastic thing. We live locally but can't travel to San Antonio. Be able to come over here with the rest of the Auburn fans, and it is a fantastic experience being here. We have season tickets, so we get to experience the jungle for every game except the ones away.
In high spirits, fans lined up as early as 2 p.m. for the 5 p.m. tip-off. Many people spoke about how this opportunity allowed the Auburn community to come together, and the free admission made it possible for families that may not have been able to afford a game otherwise. Staff member of Neville Arena, Eric Kennedy, had this to say.
This season in itself has just been, I don't know, in one word, I guess I'd say amazing, because it has always brought people together. Like, this season is like, oh my God, look around. It brought millions, let's just say millions of people together, not necessarily what's in here now.
There was a roller coaster of emotions as the game was underway, but the watch party was just that, a celebration of Auburn men's basketball and their historic run. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sophia Weber.
A watch party in Auburn with Sophia, and even better, a watch party in San Antonio with Eagle Eye's Jack Corbett. He covered this game for us. Best of both. You got the best of the South, the best of the West, Florida and Auburn going at it. Jack, what we got?
On Saturday night, Auburn had their long-awaited rematch against Florida, where Florida beat Auburn earlier in the season and gave them one of their only 2 losses at home. Auburn sought revenge in this game inside San Antonio and the Alamo Dome.
Auburn vs. Florida marked the first Final Four matchup in SEC history. The Tigers came into the game having never won a Final Four game in school history, whereas the Gators were 2-time former champs and have established their March Madness resume. From the jump, Chad Baker-Mazara led the way for Auburn. Mazara scored 8 of his 18 points in the first 5 minutes of the game to keep the Tigers on pace with an equally hot Florida team. Joleigh Broome also came out swinging early, going to work in the post and scoring 6 early points. Even when Broom and Mazzara subbed out, Auburn continued their momentum, and by halftime, the Tigers' lead had grown to 8. The second half, however, showcased a different story for Auburn. After leading 49-40, Florida scored 11 unanswered, and in the blink of an eye, it was Florida with the lead and the momentum. Also, unfortunately for Auburn, Walter Clayton Jr. is not only built for March, but also April. Clayton went nuclear in the second half, scoring 20 of his 34 points on the way to an all-time legendary Final Four performance. His scoring helped the Gators outscore Auburn 41-27 in the second half and ultimately pull away with the win 79-73. Auburn couldn't take care of the ball, allowing 12 turnovers in the final 20 minutes, and Coach Bruce Pearl highlighted his team's fatigue after the game.
Yeah, we weren't able to maintain control of the game, which I think if we had taken care of the basketball a little bit, not turned it over and given those some easy ones, we could have been in position to win the basketball game.
The loss cuts the road short for the Tigers and puts a cap on a historic season. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Jack Corbett.
Certainly a tough pill to swallow for the Auburn faithful who traveled to San Antonio to watch this team, but it's not only tough for the faithful, it's tough for the players too. We caught up with some guys in the locker room after the game, clearly distraught and wished that their ride this season would have gone just one more game.
I don't really know. I can't really put any words into it other than the fact that we just turned the ball over too much and we allowed them to be too comfortable in their offense, and they hit a lot of tough shots, and we turned the ball over too much, and it led to them scoring 18 points off our turnovers. And that's something that couldn't happen throughout the whole game, and it ultimately happened, and that's why we lost.
You know, it's kind of hard because you feel like I say, I mean, a couple weeks ago, I was just thinking, we put God first, so God's going to continue making us win. But, I mean, just because we put God first doesn't necessarily mean we're going to win. And we putting God first to put him first because he created us and he loves us, not putting him first because we're going to have a bigger platform, we're going to win because for our glory. We putting him first for his glory. So, at the end of the day, we put him first in the wins and the losses, and God's going to be God regardless. So we just continue trusting our Lord and Savior, and, everything's going to be fine.
I mean, they know, we all getting on little space, being able to soak it all. And, it's sad, but they know, we got each other's back no matter what. Once we go to the hotel, chop it up and, know that we got each other's back.
How much of this team has been built on that? You guys are best friends, and that showed on the court. Looking back on that, what was special most to you about this team?
Just being able to know that they got my back and I got theirs at all times. No matter they call me at 2 in the afternoon, 3 in the morning, something they need CBM there, and I know that I need one of them there. They'll be there for me, and same as vice versa.
And reflection has been the best 5 years of my life. Honestly, I couldn't ask for a better 5 years, a better home to be staying at than Auburn University. It means everything to make this run in my final year, even though it came up a little bit short. Making this run you don't get this opportunity too many times, so I'm just blessed and glad I was able to, finish out strong for the most part.
What will be your best memories of the season, given what you guys did accomplish?
Really, honestly, just all of it, man. Just really all of it. Just trying to remember all the good times and cherishing it, because those times were made me who I am and who I'm gonna continue to be.
I wanted to win that championship. It hurts. It was special though. So it sucks that it came to an end.
Micah, heartbroken. Joleigh after the game, you could tell visibly emotional, but what a game. We'll talk about the first half from him, because dominant once again, and really showed why he is in the conversation and the best players in the country.
Yeah, he was getting pretty much everything he wanted in that first half down low. Alex Condon was visibly frustrated for much of that first half. Auburn was running through Joleigh. That's how this offense runs when it's at its best, playing through its big man. And on the defensive end too, Joleigh Broom was absolutely having his way down low. I thought we saw one of the better versions of Joleigh Broom we've seen all year in this first half. Absolutely incredible, and you hope to see that continue into the second half, but unfortunately the Gators made some adjustments.
Yeah, they certainly did, and that adjustment I think had a name, and his name is Walter Clayton Jr.
Yeah.
Had a big day. He is the first player since 1979, since Larry Bird and his Indiana State teams, to score consecutive 30-point games this deep in the tournament. the second half, if you want to put a title on it, it would be Walter Clayton.
Absolutely. Had a 20-point second half, had 5 threes over the course of the game. It just felt like any time Florida needed a shot down the stretch, it's what we've seen all tournament. They go to Walter Clayton, and no matter how crazy the shot, he makes it. Just a ridiculous performance from one of the better players in college basketball this year. And you watch late in the game, those Florida players are feeding off of that energy. It felt like they got faster, they got more aggressive as the game moved on, as Walter started hitting more of those shots. And down low, Auburn frankly struggled to adjust to it. A little bit more of a struggle to get the ball down low, get it work like you saw in the first half. And Bruce Pearl mentioned after the game he thinks fatigue might have been a factor, and you could see it on the floor. Auburn just was not moving with the same speed as Florida as the game moved on.
Yeah, a little banged up. Certainly Joleigh Broome, after we talked about it, the injury against Michigan State. But he said after the game, he said, my elbow was fine before the game, my ankle was all right before the game. So no excuses from the big man. And another guy I thought made a pretty big difference in this one was Elijah Martin. Now, he had a dunk late in that second half that I think was kind of the dagger in the casket of Auburn. It was that last nail, and that's what I think the turning point was for the momentum. Would you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree. That dunk was just over Tahad and Chad Baker-Mazar, the one where he flew from the free throw line. And this guy, I think, was the best athlete on the floor tonight. Just as far as pure athletic ability, Elijah Martin has been that. He has Final Four experience with FAU, and I think you saw that down the stretch. He was like, okay, I know we need to win in this type of game, and really delivered an exclamation point for the Gators.
Yeah, and a bright spot for Auburn was Chad Baker-Mazar, certainly in that first half and even late in the game. I know there's a controversial call on his pump fake, but still led the Tigers in the best fight that they could have presented in this one. Walking off the floor, said, I did that for my island. A guy from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, putting on for a population that getting to this moment is hard to do.
Yeah, and I think Chad deserves a ton of credit for this run. There were a lot of Auburn fans going into the tournament and said, oh, we can't win with Chad. Chad's going to be an emotional issue for the team. And Chad was a big part of the reason why Auburn won the Creighton game, had some great games down the stretch, was the leading scorer in this game. I think Chad Baker-Mazar did not get enough credit for what he did for this Auburn team during this tournament run.
Yeah, no doubt. And he was certainly a spirited member of this group. And the spirit doesn't stop because this team did, if you look at it, have a great overall season. So we'll look at the season from the start to the finish when we come back here on Sports Night in Auburn. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Let's take a look at what a wonderful season it was for Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers. 32 wins, which was a program record. We mentioned that one already. 5 top 10 wins this season. Also set a program record. They were the SEC regular season champs, the Maui Invitational champs, the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, and they made their second Final Four in program history. When you think about that from the broadest of scales, it's awfully impressive. So congratulations to Bruce Pearl and his Tigers. I know the season didn't end the way maybe they would have liked, but regardless, made a big dent in the history books of Auburn basketball. Now, that extends beyond the team as well. Bruce Pearl and Joleigh Broome, especially, 2 guys that have been sweeping awards across the country over the last week. Let's check it out. I guess we can start with, let's start with Bruce Pearl. First, the NABC Coach of the Year. Now, that one was a great first, but wait till you hear the second one. The AP Coach of the Year. That's arguably one of the best awards a coach can have in college basketball, if not the top, and it was the first time ever that coaches co-shared the award. Bruce sharing the award with St. John's' Rick Pitino. Congratulations, big one on that one. So Bruce sweeping 2 awards for the coaches. Big year for Bruce, and big years don't stop there. We're going to the big man. Joleigh Broome dominated all year long. A little resemblance between he and Karl Malone, who he won this award after. The Karl Malone Power Forward of the Year, very well deserved. A cool one there for Joleigh. Next, the NABC honoring an Auburn guy again, the big man of the year, encapsulating all the bigs in college basketball. And lastly, a Wooden Award All-America team. Impressive, none the least. Wow, he didn't win the Wooden Player of the Year. That one went to Cooper Flagg. A great year for Joleigh, no doubt. Bruce Pearl and Joleigh Broome, certainly the stars of the Auburn show. Now we're going to take it to Trending Tigers now, and I know it's a somber time for a lot of Auburn fans. They wanted this team to take their chances at a national championship. So we're going to have some fun here on this one. We caught up with a lot of these Auburn players in the locker room on the media days here in San Antonio, and we had some fun. These guys tune into our show, and we want to tune into their show. We asked these guys if they had to build a show with any teammates, who would it be and why? Check this out. It'll make you laugh.
The OGs. Jaheim Hudson. Darian Scott. I want my show to be funny. Jaheim Hudson, Darian Scott, and
It's only one more answer.
Denver Jones.
I'm about to say, there's only one more
Denver
answer.
Jones. Yeah. Probably star in Jaheim Hudson. For real, for real. if we being honest, I might star him. And then everybody else gonna be some special guests.
He a fool.
Oh
He
my
gonna be the
God. Like those dudes right there, bro, they funny. They just every day they got something funny going on. Especially this one right here. He got
That's in the back of the bus. I'm gonna go Simo, AD, Denver Jones. They off the chain. All the jokes in the world. They ain't holding back on nobody. Ain't holding back for nothing. I'm gonna start them three for sure.
It's gonna be a very crazy show, so I'm gonna pick Chad, Jakai, and Tahad.
AD the funniest. Denver the biggest instigator. And Tahad just the loud, annoying little brother.
For sure my brother, Dylan Cardwell. Who else? Chaney's fun, yeah, Chaney Johnson, and then Joleigh.
I'm gonna start it with, I'm gonna have, since Drake put me on his show, he gonna be on my show, So I'm gonna have Drake, I'm gonna have Chad, I'm gonna have Denver. They'll be on my show.
Okay, little reality show. I'm gonna go Janai, Turtle, and Tahad. A regular show, like day in the life type, I'll probably go Miles, Janai, Chaney, just because everybody, like his day to day is so deep.
You gonna be up early with Chaney.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's Sunday. Final Four was yesterday. We're waking up early with Chaney. Now, the difference is they get to go back to Auburn and celebrate in the arena with the Auburn fans. And after that, they can do whatever they want. If I was them, I would take it to an island somewhere and celebrate. Now, if you do go Auburn, make sure you don't leave anybody behind, because these guys, if they get left on a deserted island, they're sure to tell you who would survive and who would be gone in just about 5 minutes. This one cracks me up every time. Check it out.
Oh my gosh, I would say probably Dylan or Chaney. One of those two. They're super responsible and super serious all the time. So I would probably say one of them two.
Who dies in 5 minutes?
Dies in 5 minutes? Janai. Either Janai or JP. JP really can't. Like he not really good on survival. He you know what I'm saying? Like he's not good with being from the bottom. He stuff like he from Chattanooga, the good part of Chattanooga. So you know what I'm saying, he's not used to having to get stuff out the mud.
Wow. That's a hard one. I don't know. We got a lot of, some low people on this team. Really low.
All right, we'll start easier. Who's going to die in 5 minutes?
Oh, Janai, Chad, Miles. He's too pretty to be deserted on the island. He's a pretty boy. Once one thing goes, he's clipped. Probably those three, my main three. They're done.
I'm gonna say Dylan.
All right, who would die in 5 minutes?
Janai, Miles,
Hard. That whole trio.
Drake.
Give this man the mic.
Everybody in Auburn.
The whole
Auburn gang. They'll go first.
I'd probably say myself, because my survival skills is so high when it comes to stuff. I have to say myself personally.
Okay, who's gonna die in 5 minutes?
5 minutes. Turtle. He's gonna die. He's gonna die first. He's gonna die as soon as he get there.
Ooh, probably one of the walk-ons.
Who would be dead in 5 minutes?
Dead in 5 minutes. Probably Turtle. Yeah, Jaheim.
I say Drake.
Why?
It's because he probably gonna have everything already with him. Wherever he goes, he keep a travel case full of everything.
All right, who's dead in 5 minutes?
Chad.
Me, I'm the engineer.
Who's dead in 5 minutes?
Drake. He wouldn't do good in the wilderness.
I think that's the perfect way to put a bow on this show because those guys are having fun, as are we, and we want to thank all of you Eagle Eye TV audience members for tuning into our basketball coverage all season long. Thank you to Marlene Naver for allowing us the chance to interview and really get to know these players on the court and off, and to experience this, the Final Four in San Antonio. It's quite the experience, quite the slew of games as well, so certainly one to remember. Auburn faithful, congratulations on a great season, and we're going to wrap up this episode, this basketball special episode of Sports Night in Auburn right here. My name is Vince Wolfram for our producer, Joleigh Cavanagh. You guys are awesome. Keep up the awesomeness. Auburn basketball, congratulations on a fantastic season, and we will see you guys next week. Good night, and War Eagle.